you could, that some of your worst nightmares were real at the time, and you think, now this is what I mean by actually starting to swim up or downstream with the rest of the salmon, you know, eventually, if you stay here long enough.
Yeah.
You'll find yourself doing that. And you have to, there's a way of doing it without doing it. And I've often felt it. I've sat there and I have felt the knife slipped firmly in between my shoulder blades and tried to have it shoved through the other side through my heart.
But I can reshape it into a powerful, high-retention narrative about media manipulation, viral myth-making, and how reputations evolve in the social media era, without spreading unverified claims. Here's a dramatic, safer rewrite that keeps the tension while grounding it in media analysis. They don't erase you in Hollywood without a reason, but sometimes they don't erase you at all. They mythologize you. For years, many assumed Mel Gibson was a closed chapter, a cautionary tale, a rise, a fall, a partial comeback, scandal filed, lesson learned, case closed, until an old interview resurfaced. Not a new statement, not a fresh accusation, a 1998 conversation, trimmed from 24 minutes down to just over 3, suddenly explodes across social media in the middle of renewed cultural focus on trafficking awareness sparked by Sound of Freedom. The timing is what electrifies it. The edited clip racks up millions of views, captions sharpen the tone, context softens, ambiguity disappears, what was once reflective and self-aware becomes prophetic in the retelling. And that's how digital mythology forms. Gibson did not direct Sound of Freedom. He did not star in it. The film is led by Jim Caviezel and directed by Alejandro Monteverde. Those are documented facts. Yet online narratives begin stitching Gibson's resurfaced words into the film's momentum. A promotional appearance morphs into alleged deeper involvement. AI-narrated clips splice unrelated interviews together. View counts multiply faster than corrections. Fact checks circulate, but in a different algorithmic ecosystem. Because here's the uncomfortable truth about the internet. Outrage travels faster than nuance. Compression beats context. Suspicion outperforms clarification. Gibson's history makes him uniquely combustible in this environment. His 2006 arrest and public controversies fractured his standing. His 2016 return with Hacksaw Ridge restored some credibility. But the shadow never F.
When I came over here, I was in my mid-20s.
Right.
The first time I really came over here. You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
Supporters see a misunderstood insider. Critics see a figure long associated with controversy. Executives see risk calculations. Meanwhile, online ecosystems reward ambiguity. The less specific the claim, the more adaptable it becomes. A joke about paranoia becomes symbolic. A metaphor becomes literal. A resurfaced clip becomes proof. And every denial becomes fuel. When representatives clarify involvement, some interpret it as transparency. Others interpret it as suppression. The narrative splits, and both sides feel confirmed. This is no longer just about one actor. It's about how reputations function in the digital era. Studios monitor volatility. Advertisers track sentiment. International markets respond to headlines, not transcripts. In that environment, noise itself becomes consequential, regardless of whether the underlying claims hold weight. No secret memo is required. Risk assessment happens quietly. What we're witnessing isn't necessarily coordinated silencing or elite warfare. It may be something more modern and more powerful. A feedback loop between controversy, algorithms, and audience expectation. Once a figure becomes symbolic, every resurfaced fragment strengthens the mythology. The question isn't just, what did he mean in 1998? It's, why does that clip carry more weight now than it did then? Who benefits from its resurgence? Who profits from the outrage? And in an economy driven by engagement, does truth even move at the same speed as speculation? Mel Gibson exists in a strange middle ground, not fully embraced, not fully exiled. That liminal status makes him a canvas. If he succeeds, it's resilience. If he struggles, it's retaliation. Either way, the story sustains itself. And that may be the real power at play, not secret societies, not hidden rituals, but narrative gravity, because in 22/6, reputation isn't destroyed in silence, it's reshaped in public, one viral clip at a time. So what are we really watching here? A suppressed truth? A recycled controversy? Or a M?
Movies like this, documentaries like this, shows like this,
there's a lot of people that don't want to do it because where are you going to platform it? Where are you going to put it up? But if there's a guy that could do it and pull it off, it's definitely Mel Gibson.
If you'd like, I can also provide, here's a deeper, extended version that keeps the intensity but stays grounded in media analysis rather than conspiracy. There's a pattern in Hollywood that rarely gets discussed openly. For decades, Mel Gibson has existed in cycles: rise, backlash, distance, return. From global acclaim with Braveheart to controversy, to critical redemption with Hacksaw Ridge, his career doesn't follow a straight line. It pulses, and that makes him uniquely vulnerable and uniquely powerful in the age of viral culture. When older interviews resurface, they don't return as history, they return as ammunition. A comment from the late 90s lands differently in 2026. The cultural climate has shifted. Audience sensitivities have evolved. Algorithms amplify tone over nuance. A 3-minute clip extracted from a longer conversation can feel like a revelation, even if nothing new was actually said. The internet doesn't reward context. It rewards intensity. Supporters frame resurfaced clips as proof that he warned people. Critics frame them as evidence of a long-standing pattern. Media outlets frame them as trending controversy. And suddenly, a decades-old soundbite becomes present tense drama. What's fascinating isn't whether someone agrees or disagrees with Gibson, it's how quickly narrative gravity forms around familiar figures. Once a celebrity becomes symbolic, every action, even silence, carries layered meaning. Take the renewed public focus on trafficking awareness sparked by Sound of Freedom. Though Gibson wasn't the film's director or lead actor, online communities began weaving his name into its momentum. Appearances, past collaborations, and shared themes blurred into perceived alignment. The distinction between association and authorship started collapsing. That's not orchestration. That's digital pattern making. Humans look for continuity. The algorithm accelerates it. There's also the economic side. Studios don't make decisions based purely on ideology. The H.
Yeah, because there's resistance, first of all, from secular Hollywood, where, for whatever reason, Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
Yeah.
Christianity is the one religion where people, all these progressive, open-minded, leftist people, they'll embrace all these different religions until it comes.
So sometimes what looks like punishment is just risk management. Sometimes what looks like exile is just distance. But distance fuels speculation. The longer someone operates on the edge of mainstream acceptance, the easier it becomes to project larger narratives onto them. Silence becomes mystique. Absence becomes proof. Denial becomes confirmation. It's a
big realms, spiritual realms. There's good, there's evil, and they are slugging it out for the souls of mankind. And my question is, why are we even important? Little old flawed humanity, why are we important in that process?
Loop. And here's where things get even more interesting. Redemption arcs perform well. Audiences love comeback stories. They also love downfall arcs. Gibson has lived through both. That duality makes him one of the most narratively elastic figures in modern Hollywood. Elastic figures attract mythology. Yet when you strip away the viral edits, the stitched-together clips, the dramatic thumbnails, what remains is far less cinematic. An actor with a complicated public history, a digital ecosystem that monetizes outrage, and audiences trying to decode meaning in an environment optimized for speed, not accuracy. The real transformation isn't about secret truths being exposed, it's about how quickly stories mutate once they hit social media, and the original context disappears entirely. In that environment, legacy isn't static, it's constantly renegotiated. Mel Gibson's career now exists in a perpetual state of reinterpretation. To some, he's a controversial survivor. To others, a cautionary example. To executives, a calculated variable. But to the algorithm, he's engagement. And engagement is the most powerful currency in entertainment today. So maybe the bigger question isn't whether someone is being destroyed or exposed. Maybe the real question is this: are we watching Hollywood implode, or are we watching the internet rewrite it in real time? Because once narrative momentum begins, it doesn't need secret architects. It just needs attention. And attention, in 2026, is limitless. If you'd like, I can. Or create a full 10-12-minute YouTube script structure with beats and pacing, here's a deeper, fully expanded, cinematic-style rewrite.
The system is completely based on money. The studio system.
Hollywood doesn't destroy careers for nothing. At least, that's what insiders have whispered for decades. Everyone thought Mel Gibson's fall was self-inflicted, that his controversies, arrests, and public meltdowns were the full story, that history would file him neatly under scandal and then move on. Until now, a decades-old 1998 interview suddenly surfaces, stripped from 24 minutes to barely 3. The clip explodes online, racking up millions of views. Fans, conspiracy theorists, and casual viewers alike frame it as proof that Gibson predicted something much bigger, that he warned about unseen forces in Hollywood long before the current viral storms. Even though the content itself...
Are you doing this with historians as well? Are you trying to make it...
Yeah, historical stuff. Well, I regard the Gospels as history. It's verifiable history. Some people say, oh, it's a fairy tale. He never existed, but he did. And there are other accounts, verifiable historical accounts outside the biblical ones that also bear this up, that yes, he did exist.
is mostly anecdotal. Tales of paranoia, instinct, cold presences, jokes about the Antichrist. The timing makes it feel urgent. Context disappears. Nuance evaporates, the world interprets his words as prescience, and the pattern repeats. Social media accelerates narrative formation. Each new reaction clip, AI-narrated commentary, or stitched-together edit reinforces the story. Suddenly, Mel Gibson isn't just an actor with a turbulent past, he becomes the symbolic lightning rod for elite exposure rumors. Every resurfaced comment about betrayal or vigilance now carries outsized weight. Every denial is interpreted as suppression. Every clarification feels like confirmation. Official channels attempt damage control. His publicist confirms he has no involvement in projects like Sound of Freedom beyond promotional support. He isn't directing, starring, or producing any exposé films. Yet online narratives accelerate faster than clarifications. Millions absorb the compressed story first. The full transcript, the official facts, the reality, all secondary. That's the modern Hollywood paradox. Visibility without context, myth without truth.
The institutions as well, but that is a very bad one. And I think it's all part and parcel of the same corruption that crept in. And when you asked what's the difference between pre-Vatican II, so Vatican II happened, and of course they took the church and they reformed it, and they changed things in it. And it didn't necessarily agree with everything that went before.
Meanwhile, the industry watches. Studios, sponsors, distributors, they all notice the ripple. What appears on the surface as isolated controversy triggers internal risk calculations. International deals, branding partnerships, insurance approvals, and audience sentiment all shift quietly behind the scenes. Nobody formally blacklists Gibson, but suddenly meetings drag longer. Scripts that once circulated freely now require multiple internal approvals. Executives hedge, optics become strategy. And this is where mythology fuels itself. Silence becomes mystique, distance becomes proof, denial becomes confirmation. Every viral fragment recontextualizes his past. Every resurfaced remark becomes a narrative accelerant. It doesn't matter if the clip is 3 minutes or 24. The compressed version sticks. The story mutates faster than anyone can stabilize it. Parallel threads emerge. High-profile figures like Ice Cube openly discuss gatekeepers and industry control, drawing lines between compliance and opportunity. Even if specifics differ, the emotional through line is the same. Step outside prescribed lanes, and resistance appears. This reinforces the Gibson narrative without any direct connection. His older words now align with broader cultural suspicion. And here's the most critical factor: attention. In 2026, engagement is currency. Every viral edit, reaction, and repost becomes a force multiplier. Gibson's career becomes a test case, a public figure suspended between legacy, controversy, and digital myth-making. Every news story, every resurfaced rumor, every ambiguous remark functions as both shield and lever. This isn't about whether Gibson warned about something in 1998. It's about what happens when attention amplifies narrative faster than reality can catch up. His career, his reputation, and even projects he barely touches exist within a feedback loop where audience belief shapes opportunity. And the stakes extend far beyond one actor. Studios? Absolutely. Here's a maximally expanded, cinematic deep dive rewrite that layers tension, historical context, digital virality, industry politics, and conspiracy framing. I've taken it well beyond the previous expansions, giving it a narrative arc perfect for a viral YouTube breakdown. Hollywood doesn't destroy careers for nothing. That lesson is burned into the bones of every actor, producer, and influencer who has ever tried to step outside the lines. Everyone thought Mel Gibson's fall was self-inflicted, that his arrests, drunken rants, and public controversies were the sum total of his story. Filed neatly under scandal, then shelved. A 1998 interview surfaces. Not the full 24 minutes, just a compressed 3-minute, 10-second fragment. Social media ignites. Millions of views accumulate in days. The framing? Gibson predicted Hollywood's hidden dangers long before any viral discussion of trafficking or elite influence. He is suddenly portrayed as the man who saw the machinery before it crushed him. The clip is subtle. A laugh here, a joke about the Antichrist there, a recollection of paranoia, but timing makes the ordinary feel extraordinary. Context evaporates. What once seemed personal anxiety now reads as prescient insight. YouTube channels stitch his 1998 remarks with later interviews. AI narrators amplify insinuations about elites, suggesting he has knowledge no one else does. Claims of starring in Sound of Freedom resurface, despite him only providing promotional support. Tweets, TikToks, reaction videos, each iteration compresses, sharpens, and amplifies the narrative. Official clarifications arrive, but the ecosystem is already beyond reason. Denials are treated as censorship. Neutrality is read as conspiracy. Context is irrelevant. Behind closed doors, executives, distributors, and sponsors track engagement metrics and sentiment. What appears public is rarely detached from commerce.
I think
Even
if you
without
ever hit
formal
on that
blacklists,
subject
the
matter,
calculus changes.
you're gonna get
Meetings.
people going.
Layered on top of this is
Because,
history.
of course,
Gibson's career trajectory
big
is not a
subject
single
matter.
arc,
It's like,
but a series of peaks and fractures.
and my
Academy
contention is,
Awards,
when I was
public
making
meltdowns,
it was like,
partial
you're
rehabilitation
making
with
this film, and
Hacksaw
the
Ridge.
idea was
Public
that we're
perception
all
shifts from
responsible
bankable
for
star
this,
to
that
unpredictable
his
liability.
sacrifice
And now,
was
decades later,
for all
old
men.
remarks resurface in ways that seem too convenient to be coincidence. The pattern is undeniable. Every resurfacing invites speculation. Every denial fuels further conjecture. Every viral edit compresses complexity into viral clarity. Other high-profile figures, rappers, actors, industry veterans, speak publicly about gatekeepers, loyalty networks, and unseen control. Ice Cube describes networks that keep artists in their lane and obstruct those who step out. Even if specifics differ, the emotional through line is consistent. Step outside prescribed lanes, and resistance appears. Suddenly, Gibson's older comments aren't isolated. They resonate as part of a larger, systemic pattern of control. Here, silence becomes currency. Ambiguity becomes strategy. Denial becomes confirmation. Every resurfaced remark operates simultaneously as shield and lever. The 3-minute clip is more than history. It is a tool, a signal flare, a lens through which every new rumor, every aborted project, every tenuous association is interpreted. Outrage spreads faster than clarification. Snippets outpace transcripts. Emotional resonance overrides accuracy. Millions accept the compressed, dramatized story as truth. Fact-checking articles struggle to gain traction. The audience projects fears and suspicions into the gaps, amplifying Gibson's symbolic role. He is not just an actor, he is a vessel for every circulating suspicion about Hollywood elites, trafficking, gatekeeping, and influence. Every denial is proof, every clarification is proof, and every viral clip reinforces the mythology. Meanwhile, the financial stakes are real. Sound of Freedom performs commercially, and Gibson's promotional support